Freedom Island. I used to watch this show on TV, and it was where they took a person and they took them in a boat or a helicopter or whatever, and they give them just bare minimum tent and clothes and cooking pot or something like that, and then they dropped them down somewhere, like in the woods or in a mountainside or something like that, and then they left them. And it was a contest, so there would be that one, plus they would drop off another, I don't know, half dozen people or something like that, kind of around, like if it was on a mountain, then they'd put one at the top of the mountain, one at the bottom of the mountain, to the side of the mountain, and so on. So they didn't know each other was there, you know. They knew they were there, but they didn't know where they were at, you know, miles apart and all that. And they didn't have anything, no radio, I mean, they had probably like a flashlight and, you know, I don't remember, you know, stuff like that. They had a emergency phone or a signaler or something like that. So they tried to stay longer than the other people. It's kind of like that show Survivor, but they were on Survivor, they were all together. And part of the struggle was they struggled with each other and all that. But this one, each one's by themselves. And they have to solve all their problems, like get their tent up and not get eat up by animals and find stuff to eat. And, you know, if their shoe broke, they had to fix their shoe and things like that. Not get sick and not fall and hurt themselves and all that stuff. And I always thought, watching that show, I would be pretty good at that. Like, not like I wouldn't be able to go up and knock down a bear with a stick or something, but you know, I felt like what you would have to do, some of them would like pitch their tent where the rain was going to run down and gather at the bottom and stuff like that, and I thought, well, I'd know to do that, you know, to put it where the rain would run off and where the wind wouldn't blow on you so hard, stuff like that. I'd get all that stuff figured out. Well, you know, if this trying to get up to Detroit to see what's going on with Uncle Boyce and everything, if that was one of these shows, I probably would have already pushed the button by now. It has been a circus, just a complete clown circus. I had planned everything so good, put so much thought in it of how to stay out of trouble, keep on the down low, have all my things I needed, have backups for my things I needed, and so on and so forth. And it has just been, my own belief in my own competence has been shook. I'm telling you what. I always felt like I was a pretty competent person. Now, sometimes my mind and my behaviors have wandered off a little bit from the main tried and true, and I had to come back and get myself straightened out as far as getting my mind where it ought to be, and some of my life choices, let some of that things go and get back on what I meant to do. But as far as if I put my mind to it, or even if I didn't even put my mind to it that much, I could get my laundry done, I could get my food made and eaten up, take care of the little ones, I could fix the car to some extent, you know what I mean, but like, just, I'm not one that would, every time you turn the key and it don't start right up, you just call AAA or call somebody to come rescue you, you know. If you got water dripping down from somewhere upstairs, I go upstairs and see what it is was dripping, you know. I've always felt like I could do things. And then this little bit of adventure right here, just this one trip, all I had to do was get out of my brother's house, which was really our parents' house, but that's another whole story. Just get away from my brother and get out of Mom and Daddy's old house, get myself on a bus, get downtown and get on the Greyhound and go to Detroit. How hard could that be? But I ain't there. I'm not on a bus to Detroit right now. I am not. I'm the opposite of where I needed to be. Where I need to be is going north toward Michigan, up. And where did I end up? I ended up about halfway between Indianapolis and Mooresville, down toward Martinsville and Bloomington, and then you go on down to Columbus, Indiana, and then you get down to Louisville. I'm down there. I didn't quite get down to where they started blasting out the hills to make the road flat. You know, it still looks like a normal city up in this part, but, you know, getting countrified as we come down here. But, you know, about another 4 or 5 bus stops, and I would have been down where you start seeing the sedimentary layers of the geologic periods and all that. You know, when you go down from Indianapolis down, that's where the glaciers stopped at. Like Indianapolis, just right around there, and like across to like Columbus, Ohio, all across there. The glaciers come down from like the North Pole down Alaska, Canada, you know, Montana, North Dakota, like up, you know, up in there, Nova Scotia and all that, and they come all the way down and come down and just scrape along. And that's why everything up there, the more you go up, the more flatter it is. You know, it's all, I mean, I know it's been cultivated for soybeans and corn, but it was flat to start with, you know. And then you get about an hour south of Indy or Columbus or wherever, and it starts being all hilly and rocky and everything, and that's because the glaciers just, I don't know what happened. Dinosaurs, I don't know if it's the same thing that dinosaurs got hit with the rocks, or was that before or after that? I don't remember how that all works. I guess glaciers was first, right? And scraped everything, so there couldn't have been dinosaurs yet. I did pay attention in school more than what I sound like I did, but anyway, so I guess before dinosaurs. But when the glaciers was going along, I don't know what happened, but just one day, they just stopped. So you can tell where you're at by, is it flat or not? Hilly, you're down south. Flat, you're up north, right? I mean, relatively north, you know what I'm saying. So at least I didn't end up down where the hills had to get blasted apart so they could put up roads so you wouldn't be going up and down like a roller coaster the whole way down, right? But I'm at somewhere called Motel 31, because 31's the road that goes down that way from Indy. And I didn't mean to be here. I meant to get on 495 and go around. I don't even know if I should go into everywhere I meant to go instead of where I did go. Okay, well, let me back up for even going anywhere. So the first thing that happened to me is I got stuck in my brother's truck. Stupid old Ford 150. Real, you know, it was Daddy's truck. And it's got them big fat bench seat type seat in the front, and then they've got extra padding and all that on top of it because he's got like back trouble and whatnot, which I understand. And then he's kind of short in the legs, so he's got the seat pulled way up. And then if that thing that ever makes the seat shift a little bit, if there's even anything like that under there, it has never been moved for who knows how long. So it would be hard for me to squish out. I ain't a little person. So it would have been hard for me to squish out anyway, to go out on the driver's side. But the horn, it's still got, the truck has still got one of them chrome type horns that's like a half circle or like a half moon, you know, that goes around the inside. Like it's still got the old fashioned kind of steering wheel that's like the real hard with like the finger grips on it, you know. And then there's the Ford thing in the middle of it, and then underneath there is that horn. And I'll tell you what, in the first place, that thing, you just touch it, it's like a minefield. Like you just touch that chrome thing, and it just sets it off. And then, of course, being my brother, he can't just have like a normal truck horn. He got some kind of a thing he bought at the auto parts store and put it in. He's so proud of himself that he got it all wired in there, and it makes like a ooga horn, and then it calls people names and things like that. So it's got like a whole bunch of voices and sounds, like sound effects or whatever, and it's real loud. And he said it's better than having like a car alarm, you know, because like an old truck like this, you can't put a alarm system in it, you know, aftermarket very good. So he didn't really make that horn be so easy to press and go off. You know, it's just old rattly truck, I guess. But since it was already like that, he had already got the idea of putting, you know, his comedy noises instead of a horn honking anyways. But then he figured out that that would just make it like a burglar alarm for the truck, right? Because anybody touches the truck or tried to hotwire it or get in it, and they don't know not to touch that horn, and it goes off even if the truck ain't running. Like it's got some kind of a battery backup or something off of it, or I don't know how he did it, but it goes off anyways, even when the engine's not running. So, needless to say, I couldn't go out that way, because, you know, sure shooting, and I do mean shooting. If he hears that horn go off, he ain't going to figure out it was me, you know. He's going to shoot first and then figure out what happened. If he makes a hole in his truck, well, then he's got a story to tell, you know. And by the time he figures out his mistake, you know, I'm the one that shot. And if I'm lucky, it wouldn't go through my middle, but still, I wouldn't be going nowhere. Like if I got shot in the leg or you know, I'm going to have blood on me. I mean, I'm not going to be able to walk. There's nothing I could do. Like, touch that horn, he comes out shooting, it's the end. And if you think that's an exaggeration, you ought to read the Indianapolis newspaper every day. Every day, somebody has shot somebody in their family. Because everybody's got way more guns than brains around here, and never crossed their mind that that person might be their kid sneaking in the window from going out with their friends, or, you know, their spouse stepping out on them, or maybe they do know that. Maybe their husband or wife's coming back from bowling, or, you know, they're sleeping. They all work different shifts, you know, and they're half asleep anyway. So you already got no brains, and then maybe you smoked a little wacky weed, or maybe you had a few beers or something and fell asleep in front of the TV because you work all weird hours. Then you think you hear a noise, and then if you're like my brother, you just keep a gun behind the TV. You get up and start, you know, shooting, and then you look later, you know. So that's what he's like. So there wasn't no way I could get out that way. So of course I was going to get out the way I came in, which is the passenger door, and it wedged shut on me. The piece of the seat belt, it don't have those shoulder belts. It just has the lap belt that goes across there, and if you don't look out, and it was dark when I come out, you know, I had to come out and follow the glow of the cigarette butts on the driveway to find my way down to the truck door so I could ease on in when I was trying to wait for the bus last night. So I couldn't see, and I couldn't turn on the light because I didn't want to see him see me out the thing, and I wanted to hop in the truck real quick before the light came on. So I wanted to pop in and get it shut behind me, and I did notice it shut kind of funny, but I never, that's not how I usually would shut the truck door, ease it, ease it, ease it, ease it, ease it shut, till the light went off, and I wanted to keep the bugs out because I had my little screen, and I didn't want the mosquitoes and all them come in and bite me while I'm stuck in the truck. It was already hot anyway with the windows up. Couldn't run it, because he'd hear it. So it wasn't a good thing. So what I had done is I had the seatbelt buckle strap thing had fell out over the side of the seat, and then it had fell down over the edge where you shut the door, And while I was easing that door, it's an old door. It's been open and closed 1,000,000 times, and that truck's been run into and rubbed against every tree and every fence, and somebody's probably run into it with Kroger shopping cart 10 times, And so, and then it's hot here, and then the summer it's cold in the winter and all that. So all them joints and everything up in the frame of the truck and all that's all bent and warped and all that. So I wasn't surprised it was hard to shut. Well, I was shutting the door on that strap, and then some part of the strap buckle must have, how it lifts up, like when you're letting, click, and then you lift it up to get out of it again. And that thing must have twisted around upside down, and then it wedged. So I made if I'd wanted to lock myself in, I don't believe I could have done it. I don't believe if I was in one of them contests and they said lock yourself in a truck, and keep a bear from eating you, the bear would have got me if all I had was the seat belt buckle and strap and had to keep myself inside. There's no way I could have wedged that, so I couldn't get that door open. But I did. So finally, I figured out that I could cut the strap. They have a emergency hammer back there. Lauren put it back there behind the seat. And so I had to reach my arm around and fish around, and I found McDonald's bags and some yucky ketchup that was in fries, and I think some of the little ones put some of their food back there and then, forgot about it, and it was disgusting. But eventually I felt around and, I thought there's probably guns back here too. I'm probably going to, probably loaded without the safety on, and, but managed to not shoot any guns and not stab myself on any survival knives or tactical gear or grenades or anything he's got stashed behind his truck stashed behind his truck seat. But I found that box. Lauren had never took it out of the package, but she'd put it in the truck. So I opened up the package, and it had a hammer thing to bust out the glass with, but that was too extreme. I didn't need to do that. What I knew it had on there is it had a strap cutter. And I thought, well, he'd skin me alive if he knew I was about to cut the strap on this seatbelt. But it was him or me. The strap or me, not really him, but the strap or me. So I cut it. It has a slicer. So it's like if your truck rolled over and you couldn't get the door open and your seatbelt latched on you, or you fell in the river or something like that, had to get out before it sank down or whatever, you need to cut your belt to get yourself out. So that's what I used. So I used that, I cut the belt, and then I could use the window scraper thing and kind of push it down in that crack. It took a long time, and I knew I missed my bus. I saw my bus come, and I saw my bus go. And there I was in the truck, and also it's starting to get light. It's getting a little later in the summer now, and the days is not as long. And I thought, I don't want to get seen, but there wasn't nothing else I could do. So I just took the scraper for the windshield, and I just pushed, and then sometimes I got the seatbelt piece strap was crinkled up and wadded up, and I made it worse, so I had to pull it back toward me again and straighten it out, because it had to go you had to feed it through like a strap, like if you worked in a factory or something and you had to feed it through a machine, or like a sewing machine or something, you had to feed it through even. But eventually I got it out, and I pushed it, and then I got the door open. And then I just left the strap, and I just left the tool laying there, and I thought, let him make of what he wants of it, whether it was vandals or whatever. So I came around the back of the truck, missed my bus, which meant I had to hike. I knew there wasn't going to be a bus for an hour. So I had to walk, but I thought I can go up a little ways. And then where the road cuts over by the tire store, I could go around that way. Plus I can get me a donut. They got a donut shop up there, and I wasn't going to be able to get me nothing to eat because it was going to be too early, that first bus. But I missed that one, so that was going to put me tight on time and everything else. But because I had to make my connection to get my other bus that goes downtown to get to Greyhound to get my ticket and all this stuff to go to Detroit, right? So, and the later in the day it is, the more behinder everything is. The city bus is behind, the Greyhound's behind, the drivers is crankier, everybody, it's just harder. All the people's madder, all the high people are extra high. It's just bad, right? But there wasn't nothing I could do about it. So I thought, all right, I get my stuff, I go up, cross over diagonal, go by the tire store. Might as well just stop in, get me a striped awning, whatever that place is called, that's got the window awnings, it's got the stripes, and then the cup's got a stripe on it, whatever. And get me some donut bag and coffee to take with me. So I went around the back, and I fished out my gymnasium bag that was underneath the recycling in the bed of the truck. Did not smell as much like Budweiser beer as I was afraid it might have, so that part was good. So I got that slung up around my shoulders. And then I came around the side of the house where they put the trash out, and I had put some of my electronics and stuff right in a hefty bag, and I had put it over by where they put their trash to go out. And I got around to the tire store, and I was almost up to stripey awning donut place, and I thought, what stinks? What stinks? And then I realized that I had the trash. I had brought the wrong. I thought I knew which one had my stuff in it, and I had got a bag of their trash. And here I was walking along like a homeless person, except they don't even they have good trash. They've got the stuff they've picked careful out of the trash. I'm like the world's worst, at most bad. I could win. That's a show I could win. Not alone on a mountain from a helicopter, beat off a bear and feed yourself on berries. No, the show I would win would be called The Worst Homeless Person in the World Starves to Death on the Street, because she don't take the good trash, she takes the bad trash. She don't know to pick through it and get the good things out. No, take the whole thing. So